Hello everyone, there is a video course on digital electronics. So under digital electronics, we are going to study about the number systems and codes, Boolean algebra, and logic gates, combinational logic circuits, sequential logic circuits, logic families, semiconductor memories, analog to digital converters and digital to analog converters, and microprocessors. Well, before getting into the course, let us discuss about the brief overview of the course digital electronics and what are the topics that we are going to cover in this course. So, first of all, what do you mean by a digital electronics? A digital electronics is nothing but which it is a field of electronics in which it involves the processing of the digital signals or the devices that uses the digital signals or that produces the digital signals. We call it as digital electronics. So the first topic in our course digital electronics is number systems and the codes. So under number systems and codes we are going to study about the basic number systems like binary number system, octal number system, decimal number system and hexadecimal number system. So basically a number system is having some n number of number systems, that is from 0th number system to the nth number of nth number of number systems. But the basic number systems that we are having are the binary, decimal, hexadecimal and octal. So after learning these basic number systems, we are going to learn about the conversions of the number systems, that is from one number system to the another number system. That is for example, we are converting a binary number system into a decimal number system and a binary number system to an octal number system and the same binary number system to the hexadecimal number system and vice versa. So that we are going to learn about in the conversions of a number systems. The next topic that we are going to study after learning these conversions is a binary arithmetic, that is a binary addition, binary subtraction, multiplication and binary divisions. After that we are going to learn about the codes, gray code, binary code, XS3 code and so on. And finally that we are going to learn under number systems and the codes is the signed magnitude of a number and its complement forms. So that is under complement forms we are going to study about the 1's complement, 2's complement, 9's complement, 10's complement, 15's complement and 16's complement. The next topic is the Boolean algebra and logic families. So under Boolean algebra and logic families we are going to study about the basic logic gates, that is a NOT gate, AND gate, OR gate, XOR gate and XNOR gate, NAND and NOR gates in detail. The major concern of this logic gates is that to find out the output of any digital circuit. So we will be using the logic circuit. The next one is the Boolean algebra. Under Boolean algebra we are going to learn about the De Morgan's theorems De Morgan's theorems, consensus theorem and all the laws and the theorems that are present in the Boolean algebra. So the major concern of this Boolean algebra is to convert the complex expression into a simpler expression. So after learning this Boolean algebra, Boolean laws and theorems, we will be having the K-map predictions, that is the kernel map predictions. And the next topic in our course is the combinational logic circuits. So under combinational logic circuits, you will be learning about the adders, subtractors, comparators, decoders, encoders, multiplexers and what not. This combinational logic circuits gives us the complete freedom. To design any type of logic circuit. So the next one is the sequential logic circuits. Under sequential logic circuits, we will be learning about the flip-flops, latches and applications of the flip-flops like shift resistors, counters, synchronous counters, asynchronous counters and so on. The next topic is the logic families. Under logic families we are going to learn about the bipolar logic families and the unipolar logic families. So under the bipolar logic families we will be learning about the RTL technique, DTL, DCTL, I2L, TTL. All these topics we are going to study in detail about all these topics under the bipolar logic families. And then coming to the unipolar logic families, we are going to learn about the NMOS, PMOS, CMOS and how this PMOS, NMOS, CMOS acts as an inverter. So the next one is the semiconductor memories. Under semiconductor memories, we will be learning about the well-known. We are already familiar with the RAM, ROM, EEPROM, double EEPROM, flash memory, and so on. The next topic is analog to digital and digital to analog converters. So under analog to digital converters, we will be learning about the counter type analog to digital converters, successor approximation analog to digital converters, sigma pi analog to digital converters, and then we will be learning about digital to analog converters like binary weighted digital to analog converters, R to R digital to analog converters, in detail about the all the analog to digital converters and digital to analog converters. And finally we are going to learn about microprocessors. So well, a microprocessor that we are going to learn about in this course is the 8085 microprocessor, which is a basic microprocessor. So we are going to study about the architecture, IO structures, its structures, and all the details about the 8085 microprocessor. This is the brief overview of the topics that we are going to cover in our course Digital Electronics. So let us start our course with number systems and codes. So the first topic in our course Digital Electronics is the number systems. So under number systems, we are going to study about this binary number systems, octal number systems, or decimal number systems, and hexadecimal number systems. As we have already seen, as we have already learned beforehand that the number systems are from 0th to nth number systems, but we are learning about the basic number systems like binary, octal, decimal, and hexadecimal number systems. So why do we require, first of all, why do we require a number system? A number system is required to know the magnitude of any quantity. That is why we require a number systems. So how we find that this particular number system belongs to this particular number belongs to a particular number system? So we represent it by a base or a radix. Base or a radix. A base or a radix is nothing but a base which represents the particular number system. So specifically we can say that a base is nothing but it is the number of digits. It represents the number of digits that are present in a particular number system by using a formula that is 0 to r minus 1. And this is the formula that particular number system consists of how many digits that are present in a particular number system. So by using this formula, so let us find out the digits that are present in this basic number systems. That is, first of all, let us take the binary number system. Under binary number system, as the name itself represents that bi means 2. So the base for a binary number system is 2. So here r represents the base or a radix. So for a binary number system, this implies 0 to 2 minus 1, and it implies 0 to 1, that is 0 comma 1. A binary number system consists of only 0 and 1 digits in its number system. So this is one of the technical interview questions that is being asked, why a binary number system consists of only zeros and ones in its numbers, right? So now let us look at the octal number system. For an octal number system, the base or a radix is 8. So by using this formula, 0 to 8 minus 1, and it implies 0 to 7. So an octal number system consists of the digits from 0 to 7. The range of an octal number system is 0 to 7. So let us take one example of an octal number system. For an octal number system, let us take an example of 283. Can we say that this number belongs to an octal number system or not? Why we cannot say that this number is an octal number system. Why? Because the digit present here is 8. which is out of the range of 0 to 7, as we are already familiar with this octal number system, that it consists of only the digits from 0 to 7. So 2 belongs to an octal, 3 also belongs to an octal number system digits, but 8 is greater than the 7. So this is not in the range of 0 to 7. So this number does not belong to an octal number system. Right? Take one more example, that is 167. So we can say that this number is an octal number system, as all the digits present in this number are within the range of 0 to 7. So the next one in our number system is a decimal number system. Coming to decimal number system, the base or a radix for a decimal number system is 10. So 0 to 10 minus 1, and it implies 0 to 9. The range of digits for a decimal number system is 0 to 9. Then coming to the hexadecimal number system, base is 16. So that is 0 to 16 minus 1, and it implies 0 to 15. The range for a hexadecimal number system is 0 to 15. So now let us take one example of a hexadecimal number system, that is 314. So we are transforming this data from one person to the another person. So I am the person who is sending the data, and one of my colleague or my friend is the person who is receiving the data, but he is not much familiar with these number systems, right? So he might confuse that this number is 3 is 1 digit, 1 and 4 as 3 digits. He might confuse that this is a 3 digit number, but we are giving it here as a hexadecimal number. So our friend or a colleague who is receiving data might confuse that. He might think that this number is an octal number system, or it might be a decimal number system, because all the digits present here are in the range of 0 to 7 and 0 to 9. So this is why the reason the 2-digit numbers present in a hexadecimal number system are decoded. That is decoded as 10 is decoded as A, 11 as B, 12 as C, 13 as D, 14 as C, and 15 as F. This is why the reason the 2-digit numbers in a hexadecimal number are decoded. This is also one of the important technical questions that is being asked in some of the interviews. Why the 2-digit numbers in a hexadecimal number system are decoded? Well, taking the same example, if we are sending the data as 3E, I am sending this data to the person who is receiving data might not confuse that this number is particularly a hexadecimal number. Why? Because here the number 14, the 2-digit number 14 has been decoded as E here, and it is in the range of 0 to 15. Hence this number is a hexadecimal number. So now let us take one example of a let us take one example and find out the base to which number system it belongs, right? So now to find out the base or a radix of any given number. So let us take one example. Square root of 22 is equivalent to some 4, right? To find out the base of any number, here the base values are not given, so we have to find out the base or a radix of this particular numbers. To find out the base of any number, we are having a formula, that is summation of the digit into b power pv. Here b represents the base and pv represents the place value. So the place value for this number is 0 and 1. The place values will be represented from right to left, and if we are having any decimal point, that is if 22.56 is given, if it is given, the place values will be, this is for 0, this is 1, and this is from left to right, -1 and -2. So in this example, the place value is for the other number is also 0. So now let us take it by using this formula, that is square root of 2 into b power 1 plus 2 into b power 0 is equivalent to 4 into b power 0. So square root of 2b plus 2, where b power 0 is equivalent to 1. So 2 into 1, 2, and it is equal to 4. For b power 0 is equals to, this is equals to 1. So 4 into 1, it is 4. Now let's square on both sides, that is squaring both sides, 2b plus 2 is equivalent to 16, and it implies 2b is equals to 14. 16 minus 2 is equals to 14, and implies b is equals to 7. So the base or a radix for the given numbers is 7. So that's all about the basic number system. So we are going to learn about the conversions, that is the from one number system to the another number systems in our next class. Thank you.